Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is February 28th, 2022, and today is Monday morning. Welcome back, everybody, and looking at the highlights of the day. War in Ukraine continues, and markets are in turmoil as a result of it. No major economic events scheduled for today, but as we look at the various markets, starting out earlier this morning, the euro, the British pound, and the Australian dollar all gapped down this morning and could be a tremendous opportunity. Looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq Gap Down as well. And looking at commodities, oil spikes while gold steady at 1900. Now looking at last Friday's activity in the stock market, the FAANG stocks, the tech stocks lag behind as the rest of the market really gained tremendously. Now looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin at mid-range. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So let's say you can expect the unexpected because, you know, we're in the midst of a war, okay, of a regional war that we haven't been in since World War II, okay? That's how colossal this is, okay? Europe has not seen this type of action in more than 70 years, 75 years. So this is really a interesting unfolding of events, okay, that's happening in the Ukraine. It's so much that we could digress about it and talk about it, okay? There's a few things I might want to add this in this week's portion of our Facebook Live event. But right now, we are starting out at support here at 111, looking at the euro. So this could be a tremendous fill in the gap, okay? Because this is a important support level. Looking at the GBP USD, also a little bit stronger here, not gapping down to 131, so a little bit more vibrant. Australian dollar looking here to actually cross over one of the moving averages. Okay, so you're seeing all of them gap down, but I'm looking for that fill in the gap. What I mean by fill in the gap is that it's going to rally here and going to close this gap on this side. Okay, this is called a gap, meaning there are no buyers. So we go from 72 down to 71. That's when you do have buyers, okay? And then you've got a little bit of a rally. Now the question is it we're going to get a gap and go, or we're going to get a gap and fill in the gap? Okay, that's what we're going to have to keep an eye on later today. Now looking at the commodities, first looking at oil spiking up here to 96. Look at that big hike, all right? That's a big hike. But again, it's not breaking out and continuing, okay? Could be we're going to fill in the gap on the downside here, okay? This is kind of interesting. The rest of the markets are gapping down and oil is gapping up, okay? So the fill in the gap is going to be a little bit different here. It's going to be a sell-off as opposed to a rally, okay? So keep that in mind as this is unfolding. Now looking at gold, not doing much and just trading at 1900 right here. If we look at a 1 hour chart, you know, it did gap up a little bit this morning from 1883 up to 1908. But this is all of how the unfolding events is going to happen in Ukraine. Russia's going to take Ukraine over. What the ramifications are going to be and what the repercussions are going to be by European states is going to be still yet to see how Russia will respond to it. Now, they've cut off several things to Russia. No commercial airplanes running between Europe and Russia. They're freezing assets of Russian diplomats, you know, so these things are still unfolding, and seeing how Russia is going to respond to it is really more important than what the news is actually happening. Now, looking at the U.S. markets, the Dow Jones trading at 33,500, gapping down from 33,967. Okay, this is a nice gap down. All right, so keep that in mind as this is happening as well. All right, on the downside. Now, looking at the NASDAQ, I'll say also here, we gap down and we look like we're rallying a little bit here, 1380. So we want to see if it's going to close the gap. Okay, that's really what the major play is going to be, or we're going to be a gap and go. Okay, keep an eye on this because this will give us tremendous opportunities today. Now, looking at the markets last week, JP Morgan was one of the biggest gainers last week. If we look at the test stocks, they gained, but they didn't gain that much. 164 for Apple. Facebook got a little bit of a bounce to 210 finally. That was the biggest gain that Apple has gotten since since Facebook has gotten since its debacle from 1326 down to 239. Now looking at Microsoft, also got a big bounce, okay? And we're at that moving average right there, a 30-day moving average, which is really important. Cisco also got that fill in the gap, okay? Well, we closed the gap and then we, you know, we're going through a roller coaster ride, all right, basically, okay, because the markets are so irrational right now. Because of what's happening in Ukraine, right? So keep that in mind. There will be tremendous volatility. Just take your profits, book them. You know, it's going to be that type of day. Looking lastly at Bitcoin trading at 37,838.5, right in the middle of our two extremities, okay? 34,000 and 41,000, and we're right smack in the middle there. If we look at the moving averages, just almost at par. So nothing really jumping out at me here. But remember, today's going to be volatile. Take your profits, cut your losses, you know, just trade momentum, okay? It's that type of day where we might see ourselves swinging just erratically throughout the day, seeing how people are going to digest this as more news comes out of Ukraine and Russia. And, you know, I prayers and thoughts go out to, you know, the Ukrainian people in this horrible time for them. This is Fred Razak, and I wish everybody a great trading day. Thank you.